This is Roy with Kick Legend. Today we're going to talk to you about how to put elbow destructions into the free flow. So I got a question from Joey at Combat Arts about how to put more elbow destruction into the kickboxing format. We just want to make sure that we're careful with it, right? We may be familiar with alternate techniques such as the gunting and the elbow destruction, but I put it in the class of techniques where at higher speeds and higher intensities, I would take it out for safety. Right? And you and your partner or you and your class have to determine where that threshold is. But once we're there, this is the kind of thing I actually really enjoy training because it gives me flight time in the free flow sparring kickboxing flow so that I can learn to pick these things off in a little less prepared fashion, right? Just in the middle of sparring to pick it off. We want to talk more about picking it off on the jab because Joey mentioned that he gets it on the cross a lot. Where I tend to get it on the jab is in the long range. So from out here, I have a little more time and I'm just doing that. And for training, I'm kind of hitting with the end of the forearm rather than really trying to spike it. I find that still sufficient to get a sense of the timing. Right? Kurt likes to do more of the vertical, so he'll demonstrate that. And the reason we can pick this off is because we have the space. As a taller person, if he's just outside my jab range, I have a lot of time, relatively speaking, especially when we're not going full bore, which would be dangerous. And then from here, we want to convert that training into picking off the multiple punches from him. So when the cross comes, I don't have time to do that even slow. Or perhaps more precisely, I may have time to do it slow, but I don't want to train that because fast I won't have time. So when it's coming, even if I have time to alter my technique, I'm going to practice just keeping the wall up because if we're training this to get reasonable flight time, when he picks it up, there's no way I have time for that. I don't even have time for this one, in my opinion. So it ends up being the way I like to do it. It ends up being horizontal, then kind of this bong sao wall kind of deal. And then, of course, I'm not picking up every one, right? So sometimes here, countering, and then picking it off every now and again. From the jab cross, sometimes I can also work on the inside gunting from there, which is also a viable option, right? I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this, but because my hands are more or less in position, this still feels reasonable, right? And again, that's just getting reps of something in a more free flow format. And after that happens though, it gives me time to get into the clinch, right? That's one way to enter this hands up. So if the hook were coming or another punch, I have some defense and then shoulder, knee, whatever else you're going to do. Or from 3 punches, I might pick off 1 or 2 in a wide cover, which is cover and hit if I want, or cover and grab, or cover and hit, grab, right? And so that's one way to enter into the clinch from the elbow destructions, which are completely unnecessary, right? I can enter into the clinch without the elbow destructions. But if you just want to put some different ideas in with the idea of maybe I'm shocking his system a little bit to buy me that little bit of extra time, that's one way to think about it. We mentioned that I tend to use the elbow destruction on the jab as a long-range tool. What do you do if you're on the shorter side of that equation? If we're at the end of the taller person's range, it can be a handful for the shorter person to pick these off, even in a relatively relaxed environment. So what we want to do is to bait the taller fighter to throw a slightly long jab, perhaps a push shuffle or lunging jab. And what I find works on me, so I assume it works on some other people too, is when I see someone who seems to not understand the range, I will try to take full advantage of my superior reach, and that means not only hitting at the end of my jab, but push shuffling into a fairly long jab. And one way to bait that is to throw straight attacks and abandon them because you realize you're out of range. Faking the teeth and kind of getting that discouraged look on your face, or just throwing some punches that are out of range nothing makes you want to throw a long jab than thinking that I have absolute control over the range. So if we pretend that I'm the shorter fighter here, I'm going to fake the teeth and then kind of abandon it and stay out of range. And then now I have the time to absorb that longer range attack. Or maybe I throw some jab cross that's way out of reach. I have to get back so that I have the space to do the technique. And then now I'm encouraging him to throw what's even a long jab for him. So I hope you found this useful. Shout out to Joey at Combat Arts in Mississauga, Ontario. Hope we have some more time to train together and look at his social media feed, his YouTube channel, his blog posts. Very great information, very well-educated and open-minded martial artist and martial arts school owner. Kick Legend, keep your chin down, elevate your striking.